pull up the slide. All right, good evening, everyone. This is the December meeting for the Youth and Education Committee of Community Board 11. The meeting is called to order at 6:31 p.m. Should I read the ground rules? I don't remember if we read okay. All right. No one should speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. And to raise your hand for Zoom, you just click the participants icon, find the raise hand function. If you have technical difficulty, you may click the chat icon and relay your difficulty to the staff. So I think now Khalid calls the roll. Oh, there's more. Okay. Yeah. You're muted, Khalid.
Rookie mistake. Okay, so my internet connection just went a little bit unstable there. So I'll just pick off from where you left off. Are we still on the same slide, or you'd like me to go to
the next one? The next one, please. The chat function should not be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand for Zoom. Chat shall only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you're having or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. Please keep your questions and comments pertaining to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subjects on the agenda, raise your hand for Zoom and wait to be recognized. Oh, it's under the, okay, so the raise hand button is under the reactions since there was a Zoom update. All right. Khalid, if you could call the roll, please.
No problem. Give me 1 second. Ooh. Okay, members, just be mindful that we currently have 9 committee members on the committee, and I'll be calling you by your last name in alphabetical order. Rosa Diaz.
Present.
Thank you. Angela Donadell.
Present.
Thank you. David Giordano.
Present.
Thank you. John Green.
Here.
Thank you. Claudia Perez.
Yeah.
Thank you. Natasha Rodriguez.
Present.
Thank you. Isaac Scott.
Present.
Thank you. Russell Schuler.
Present.
Thank you. Jason Wu.
Present.
Thank you. You have a full membership. All members are present.
Okay. I was told before the informational updates, David wanted to have James Garcia make a quick announcement, if that's okay. Is James Garcia on the call? Oh no, I see them in the.
Oh, hey, how are you? Good evening. Thank you all for allowing me some time to talk about our programs. My name is James Garcia. I'm Director of Community Initiatives at the Mayor's Office. And I just wanted to highlight one of our programs that we are currently recruiting for. It's our Youth Leadership Councils. And this is a program that provides youth the platform to collaborate with their peers to address crucial issues in their communities. Some of the topics that our youth try to address: social justice, climate change, and domestic and gender-based violence. I included my email in the chat box. If you'd like to learn more about our programs, please feel free to shoot me an email. I also wanted to flag that I am a Community Board 11 alum. So looking forward to hearing more from all of you. And again, I'm actually going to jump off the call right now, but are there any questions before I jump off? I will take that as a no. So
no, James, I'm sorry. I'm just driving, so I'm hitting the button at once. You know, I don't know if you know, but we're also working on developing a youth task force, an advisory task force to the Youth and Education Committee. So I think this could tie very much into one of our initiatives and goal, and to make sure that CB11 has some representation on the mayor's I definitely like to speak more with you about it.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Okay?
All right, that sounds great.
Thanks, James.
No, thank you all. Have a good night. Wait, by the way, any other questions, comments?
Sorry, Natasha, go ahead, please.
Oh, no, it's fine. No, thank you. We'll be reaching out to you definitely about that, because like David mentioned, we're trying to create our own youth task force. And I think it'll be very nice for us to work together on that, like have maybe some of our youth task force come speak to yours. I'm not
Oh,
sure
yeah,
exactly,
definitely.
how it work, but thank you.
Yeah, and I'll forward you a one-pager of our program so we can continue the conversation.
All right.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
I have the announcements, I think, on my desktop, if anything. So NYC DOE's kindergarten applications will open from December 7th to January 20th. If your child was born 2018 and lives in New York City, they are eligible to attend kindergarten in fall 2023. I think DOE might go into more of that when they talk. And the second announcement is launch of the Strategic Arts and Education SAE initiative to provide free artistic literacy, professional development, and capacity building to new existing community-based artists, students, and advocates, including justice impacted people. So I don't know much about that. So yeah, that's
I think Pastor Scott might be able to give us some further information on that.
Natasha, thank you. Thank you for your leadership. I appreciate you. So just a little bit about the initiative. I'm hoping to actually come back next month and give a full-on presentation, so I won't take up too much time right now. But pretty much we got some money from the Ford Foundation to offer free artistic literacy and professional development training to the general public. So all workshops are free. They are open to people of all ages, and we are recruiting for participants and teaching artists as well. I'm going to put the link in the chat so you can look through it a little more thorough, but the workshops and the artistic literacy courses vary. Some are like 2 hours professional development courses. And then we have artistic literacy courses, which will be like 8 weeks long, teaching different various forms of art, film and media, graphic design, music production, dance and theater advocacy. So if you know people who are interested in this, I'm going to put this in the chat, but next month I will give a full-on presentation so folks can really dig in and ask some questions, because these are going to be workshops that are going through 2023. So I'll stop there.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Pastor Scott. If you could also maybe email that to David and I, because stuff tends to get lost in the chat sometimes. So
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Yep, I'll send it all back to you. Gotcha.
Claudia Perez raised her hand, so I'm not sure if she has a question or if that was an accidental hand, because it.
No, I do have a question. Good night, everybody. When is the start date and how for the program?
So there's not an actual start date, but the workshops will start in January of 2023. That date is tentative. If you just like sign up, register, then you'll get put on the listserv, and on that listserv, everyone will know like exactly when the schedule is. So we didn't want to just make this schedule public. We wanted to actually get people to sign up and then let them know what the schedule is. So it's still being determined, but everything is starting like the beginning of 2023. So that's TBD.
And the location is TBD as
East
well?
Harlem. No, that's right on 116th in Madison Avenue. Sorry about that. Yes.
Okay.
Everything that's not virtual will be right there in that space on 116th in Madison.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Does anyone else have any other questions for Pastor Scott? All right, I am not seeing any further hands, so we're gonna move on because we have a lot to cover today on the agenda. So Khalid, if you could go to the next slide. All right, informational updates. I see Dr. Dela Cruz is on the call, so you have the floor.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being in this space. As it was previously shared, the kindergarten admissions process is open. And this year, the gifted and talented and the general ed application is on the same page. If you have any questions or concerns, if you need to visit any of our schools, I will also, you can always reach out to our office and we can also help direct you. As far as just District 4 and our New York City Public Schools in our district, we are now close to welcoming over 400 students. In the media, they announce it as the asylum seekers. We like to refer to them as our new arrivals and our new families to be more inclusive. And so we have welcomed a lot of families into our dual language programs, and we're really happy about that. Our seats are filling up quickly, and almost all of our 8 dual language programs are full. We have some events going on the month of December, which really excited about. We have our SLT roles and responsibilities this Thursday at 4:30 for our school leadership team meetings. On Thursday, December 15th, we have a workshop session about how do I know if my child needs additional support. We also have a holiday pajama read aloud for all of the different holidays in December. I have the Cafe Con Christi on December 16th. And then on December 19th, we have a Metro Plus and Union Settlement Winter Wonderland taking place at 007 Community, where we're really going to be serving our new families and making sure that everyone has have resources. It's also going to be like a resource fair. Really want to thank our Community Education Council, Community Board 11, and all of our partners in making sure that our families are having food, shelter, clothing. A lot of our student councils have also really supported and/or fundraisers. So those are some updates. I know that our CEC president, she's here, and she'll tell you that next week we'll have a more detailed report during our D4 CEC meeting next Wednesday. So thank you for allowing me into this space, and I will be here, and I'll put my email in the chat, but you can always reach out if you have any questions or concerns.
So just like a clarifying question. So majority of the children are going to be in our district? Because I know there was a lot, I'm not sure if the exact number who have came to New York City, but I know we have those,
So they were originally, that's a great question. So originally they were not sent to our district. There's a law where, like, if there's schools in proximity near housing, they're entitled to be able to go to a school within their zone of where your address is. Special thanks to our Community Education Council. They actually wrote a resolution. We had spaces available in our dual language programs. So when we heard about our new arrivals and new families coming, we're like, please send them to us, because at least in our dual language Spanish programs, we can support our new families. The majority of them are Spanish speaking, that Spanish is their first language. And so, they would be welcome here. Because some of the schools that they were being sent to only had monolingual English services and not a lot of Spanish support, where here out of our 23 schools, we have 8 dual language programs. And so really trying to make sure that they at least come. So we would, through advocacy, ongoing outreach, the 400 families that we have, over 100 are at PS MS 57. Another 100 are at 96, PS MS 96, and these are 3K through 8th grade dual language programs. Then we have a lot of students at 372 Esperanza, which is a 6 through 12 dual language program. They did not have as many seats available, but we filled up all of the majority of their dual language seats. And now we are filling up the spaces at 112 and 206. That's a dual language and also dual language NEST program. One of the few, NEST is for students that have been identified as autistic. So we're one of the few districts in all of New York City that actually have a dual language NEST program for autistic children. And that's a 3K through 8 model. And we've actually expanded that to the high school in Esperanza, where we have dual language NEST expanding to high school, so that autistic students will have the opportunity to earn a seal of biliteracy if they want to continue cultivating both English and Spanish. But yes, so I don't know if they originally they weren't all being sent to New District 4. All of these students have literally arrived in the last 12 days, last 12 school days. And so really a huge testament to our school leaders and our teachers and our families, because 100 students in one school is a lot. So it's been what we've done, because people have been like, what does this look like? Our dual language program was getting really small, and we have what we called bridge classrooms, where we would have like K and 1 together and 2 and 3. Now that we have all these students, we're able to actually have a 3rd grade classroom, a 4th grade classroom, and we've actually been able to really lift and elevate and strengthen our dual language programs. A lot of our students are stronger in English than Spanish, because a lot of our students are actually born here. But now with our new arrivals, we're finding that their Spanish skills are very strong. And it's really going to strengthen our dual language program to have strong native speakers of Spanish. So we are very excited.
I have 2 more questions. Yes. Because obviously you're saying that they don't live within the district. So so are they going to be provided transportation through the DOE?
So in the meantime, immediately we were, I'm really again thankful for our D4 team. We were able to get Metro cards in advance. In the interim, a lot of our new arrivals live in Midtown. And so we've been able to get them Metro cards while we wait for busing. A lot of the busing is starting to take place. We were able to, and busing and transportation is a challenging task, where usually you have to go one by one, but central office has been working with us because we have this large number coming in. We've been able to expedite in bulk. Like if everybody's living on 40, I'm just using a number, not that if everybody's on 51st Street, let's just put all of their names in together and get them to East Harlem. And so that's what we're working on. The school 57 is the one that received the largest group of students. And so they're a little further along in the process. And this week, they should be getting also devices from the Department of Education. We were able to request devices for all of our families that have Wi-Fi enabled. But to answer your question, they have Metro cards in the interim until their busing gets here, and they should have busing. If some of them already have it for this week, but new people keep getting added as we speak.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to say it's a collective effort from our team, and what I'm really, really very proud of. So we have on our D4 team a social worker. A lot of people on our team speak Spanish as they speak Spanish fluently. And so we've actually been having orientations at all of the schools, supporting the new families and just like the resources that are available, helping them get to and from their housing, making sure that everyone is fed. And so we have a team effort, a collective team effort on the D4 team level. Because with our new arrivals, there's also an English language learner identification process. So we want to make sure that the teachers are able to focus on the students. And so our D4 team has actually been going in, assessing not only where are the students with their English proficiency, but where are they with their Spanish proficiency as well, so that we can help continue to cultivate both languages. So And again, special thanks to all of our community-based partners, CEC, Union Settlement, Children's Aid, like you name it, the support our elected officials has been just tremendous. And what do you need? I think our last meeting with the East Harlem Partnership, Union Settlement, BioBus, everybody who has resources, they've been really trying to support us in making sure that all of the families have what they, food, shelter, and clothing.
Does anyone have any questions for Dr. De La Cruz? Anyone in the chat? I don't see any hands, so we're gonna move on to CEC 4. Oh wait, Angela. Yeah.
Hi, Christy. Hello, Dr. Christy. How are you?
Good, nice
So
to
I
see
just
you.
want to clarify. I received a call from District 4. So you are addressing the needs for the parents in terms of ESL services for them?
So we are actually partnering with Harlem Empowerment Network.
Yes,
We're in
the
the
Harlem
process of-
Empowerment Project.
Yes. So we're actually partnering with our, we reached out to D79
Okay.
as well, but we want to make sure in these schools where there's an interest, I know that with 57, they said they would give us up a classroom for the parents because the issue is space, making sure that we have a classroom available.
Okay.
But I know that 57 and 96, we are interested in partnering with Harlem Empowerment Project to make sure that we get E&L services. We've also shared with them the resources from Union Settlement and in the community, trying to make sure that the parents can strengthen their skill set and make sure that they have something, you know, to support them throughout the day as well. So that's a great question, but that's where we are right now between D79, Union Settlement, but the Harlem Empowerment Project has been very responsive. And I know that members of our team have already engaged in those conversations. Our goal is to start the parent workshops in January. That's our
Okay.
goal, is to start it in January with all of those new programs.
Yes, full disclosure, I do know them.
Okay.
So I'm very glad, because that's what I was gonna also suggest again, because they can make it happen.
Yep.
In
That's
the quickest turnover.
Yay, well, that makes me excited, but I want you to know that Lenice and Nancy have already spoken with them, already met, and so our goal is to start in January when we get back from the December break.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, once again, I'm not seeing any hands. So Rosa, CEC 4.
Thank you so much, Rosa Diaz, President of the Community Education Council. Hope everyone is having an amazing night. I just want to echo everything the Superintendent De La Cruz said, and also a couple of updates that we have in the district. We've partnered with Sephora Restaurant, and we hosted a Thanksgiving drive and provided refugee families clothing, shoes, canned foods. Thank you so much to Sephora. She always says yes to everything that we do. We also were able to partner with the East Harlem Community Partnership and Union Settlement, and we provided families, migrant families with coats, shoes, turkeys, gift cards, name it. We've done it. We're there for our families. It's not one day, it's every single day. Families have needs every single day. Okay, so now we have a couple of resolutions. I believe David already sent out the email with all our resolutions from October 12th and November 9th resolutions were to bring migrant students to our amazing District 4 because we're able to support them, right? And now we have over 300 families. The second resolution was to preserve Community Education Council District 4 rights to our administrative assistant and the union negotiations. resolution number 3 was to support the reforms to the New York City Housing Authority in the repair process and accountability. And resolution number 4 was to amend the bylaws to continue to hold our meeting hybrid in order for the public to also join us. And we adopted a procedure for when the mayor emergency open meeting law ends. Our next CEC District 4 meeting is December 14 at 6 p.m. We're going to have an amazing presentation by the District Attorney's Office cyberbullying. So I am excited for that. And also there's a special guest, so you have to come. I'm not sharing. We've also Oh, I forgot to thank PS 171, Ms. Marte, the student leaders, student council, and Principal Pantelides for all their support collecting the donations of clothing and food for us to give out on November 21 in the Thanksgiving. One last comment, Manhattan High School President's Council is having their legislative town hall tomorrow night for PA and PTA presidents hosted by the Food and Finance High School in collaboration with the superintendents Gary Biderman and Christy De La Cruz. So whoever wants to join, please let me know. I definitely can add you up to the list. Any questions?
I see Claudia Perez's hand is raised.
Hi, I heard you mention something about public housing. Can you just go back over that again one more time and explain what your ask is?
I think it was sent, I think she was referring to the resolution that was sent out via email. I think if
I can
explain a little more.
Yeah, of course. Yes, thank you so much, Claudia. And yes, what we're asking for NYCHA is basically to for them to actually repair the apartments on time, for them not to have all these mold, because it affects our kids, it affects our families, and that becomes the attendance, right, for the kids. If the child gets sick because of mold, because of paint lead, and stuff related like that, then the child won't be able to attend school, they'll miss school, and then they get penalized, and then all of other matters come into place. That's basically it. We can't do anything past that.
Okay, thank you for the understanding of that. I'm a public housing resident, so my suggestion would be also, if you're dealing with the NYCHA residents, families, that you reach out to the resident councils, because they tend to be a great tool. And I know for a fact that we're also fighting on that same issue. So together, we could probably make a bigger noise for them to and demand so that they can get these things done. Thank you.
So, hi, this is David. I just want to make a point of clarification. So the resolutions that Rosa talked about tonight have not been sent out to this committee. They will be sent out after this meeting. Those were resolutions that were introduced after we had our meeting at the CEC meeting. So we have 6 other resolutions that came through CEC that we will be voting on tonight that everybody has already received. Sorry about that confusion. So Claudia, that is something actually we should also be supporting and moving to our housing committee so that they could also look in and help and support and address those issues because they're more specific to housing. So we will have 6 resolutions tonight, other than the ones that Rosa had spoke about. The ones that Rosa spoke about, we will send out and introduce at the next meeting. Sorry for that point of clarification. Continue, Natasha. Doing a great job.
Yeah, and that's maybe also, I see John Green has his hand raised. I know that you're chair of housing, right, John? I can't remember who's chair of,
Yes, ma'am, I am.
okay, yeah.
I was raising my hand. Could I have those resolutions sent to me as well, please? I'd like to take a look at them, please.
Yeah, so that's maybe something also that could, like, of course, that like has to do with us because it's Community Education Council, but maybe that could also go to housing. Like, I'm not sure what you guys have on your agenda, but maybe I'm not sure how that would necessarily work, but yeah. Rosa?
I just wanted to add, thank you so much, Claudia. Thank you so much, John. I will be
We lost you. We can't hear you.
community are open to the public, so anyone can join any time of the meetings. And the minutes, we send them out for the community to see. So this is in support of what everything is been done, just in case. Did I freeze?
Oh,
No,
no.
but Rosa, we'll send the resolutions out so that
Thank you.
everybody can see them. And, you know, John can take a look at how it relates to his committee as well. But I thought, you know, Claudia made a good suggestion too, is that, you know, we should tap in and have a better relationship with, you know, the NYCHA facility. Oh God, what do they call them, Claudia? I'm sorry, I forgot.
It's resident councils or resident
Councils. Yeah.
association. If I just may, right? And why I'm saying that is because I should be reaching out to you guys a little more. I'm also on the housing committee, so that's why when I heard it,
Yeah.
you know, I briefly read over the what was it that you sent again? I'm sorry.
Resolutions.
Resolutions, yes. Okay. I'm just getting familiar with the terminology. Excuse me.
That's
But-
Oh,
okay.
no, it's all right. I still forget sometimes also.
Because I know for one, I always represent myself as a NYCHA resident, right? But I am a TA president as well, a resident council president. So, you know, I wear that hat as well. So, but my thing is that we have active resident councils. And when you guys brought up about in this space where we're going to create a council, I would love to turn my guys over to you guys, especially, you know, because it's a lot of youth that just want something to do. So, you know, in contacting the resident councils, you have access to the children, to the youth. And I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you, guys.
That's something we could think about because we keep mentioning the Youth Advisory Council. So of course, having like some of the NYCHA kids on the youth, like we want a whole representation of East Harlem. So. So Community Education Council 5, do we have anyone from CEC 5 on the call in the participants? I'm not seeing anyone from CEC 5. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. So I guess we can move on to the district attorney's office. Is there anyone from? Oh, I see.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Marco Perez Jr. I'm the East Harlem Community Engagement Coordinator at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. I want to thank you all for granting me the space in the forum to exchange a couple of updates with you all. First and foremost, the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg Jr. has made his way around to multiple community full board meetings. We recently attended Community Board 11's full board meeting on November 29th, last Tuesday, really just sharing, you know, his updates from when he started his term till now and what has he done as an office as a whole. You know, we mentioned a couple of things that we've done, you know, including the announcement of the new Housing and Tenant Protection Unit, the extension of more staff, the idea of the Pathways to Public Safety, which we're utilizing as an office for diversion programming at ATI to help address underlying conditions that may cause people to commit crimes. Other than that, I don't have any other further update. I know Rosa did mention we are doing a cyberbullying presentation within the district. Want to put my information in the chat. I'm opening the floor to any questions. It's always great and awesome to be in this space, and I look forward to collaborating with all of you. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for the district attorney's office? All right, so youth construct. I am not sure what that is, David, or what organization that is.
Is Eva here from Youth Construct? Or-
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Hi, Eva. How are you? Sorry, I'm still driving, so I'm not visually seeing everything. So, Eva, we turn it over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for slotting me in. I'm on behalf of a nonprofit, Youth Construct. We are reaching out to CB11 again to give you an update of the program, and also formally ask for a letter of support, which we will use for further grant application. I think most of you have heard of the program when we presented before, but very quickly, it is a after-school vocational program to train 11th and 12th grade students construction principles, construction administration principles. So essentially, it will allow students, once they graduate from high school, to be immediately employable in construction, architecture, engineering field, working in the back office of these fields, which turns out to be, very lucrative and have a lot of career advancement potential. And we have over the years noticed a gap in, that there's a lot of demand for after-school program. Oftentimes we do see such training program for people 18 years or above, but the goal is to have this program to fill a unique gap. And not surprisingly, the number of students who apply is quite high. Last year, we have 46 students, and this year we have 90 students. And notably, this program provides a $1,000 stipend to the students. We do a lot of fundraising to real estate developers. So it's very much a public-private partnership. And then at the end of the training of 8 months training, the students are placed into a paid summer internship, and they will receive at least a $4,500 salary in the process. And again, we partner with real estate developers to help them hire the student. So our 2023 class just started, and what we noticed is that out of the 90 students who applied, 10 students live in Community Board 11, and 17 students go to school in Community Board 11. And this is a pretty striking number considering the fact that the organization hires throughout New York City. So I think it really speaks to the serious need for such program. And amongst the 25 students accepted into the program, 3 of them lives in CB11 and 7 of them goes to school in CB11. So seeing that this important demand for the program, we're coming here to ask you for a letter of support. In my ideal world, we can have a separate program just for Harlem students. But right now the program accommodates 25 students and takes in students from all over New York City. If you don't have question, I would just read the letter of support, I believe, and hopefully we would be able to bring it to full board this month. Anyone have a question?
First of all, does anyone have any questions for Eva?
So I guess I got two quick questions and maybe a quick comment. So Eva, the kids that get, when they get the $4,500, that's for a summer internship for 2 months? Wow,
Yeah.
that's not bad. That's like a $50,000 job, you know, when you think about what earnings they'll be making for that period of time, you know, in that short period of time. And I just want to then say this, you know, I got to know Eva, I think for like 2.5 years now, since during the COVID. She was a board member. She had retired from banking and has really helped and opened up many different kinds of opportunities through internships, through Chase, through other organizations to help support the growth and opportunities for youth. So it's nice to hear that we have some good percentage numbers of the cohort that join. And let's encourage to get more kids from East Harlem as part of this group. So thank you, Eva, and you always have my support. We met during COVID. I think we communicated for months before ever seeing one another, but it's a pleasure to see you again. And hopefully we can support this project as a group. Go ahead, Natasha, run it. I'll be quiet now.
I'm not sure if the letter of support, would that be new business? Because
Well, we can, because it's time sensitive. When does the letter need to go in? Eva, I was a little unsure. I know Khalid believed it had to go in this month. I just
Yeah,
wanted to,
preferably. We're applying for a Harlem grant that is due end of this year.
okay, so I would say for the cause of the short period of this and for the experience and knowledge that we have working with this group and also with Eva, I would forego the wait of a month, and if we can approve it tonight. Why don't you read the letter of support, Eva? I did not send that out to people, so everybody
Will
can hear,
do.
and then we can maybe vote on it, okay?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so very much. Our founder of Youth Construct, Alexis McSween, she is a Harlem-based developer, and she's just posting some information on the chat as well. So the letter of support reads, Manhattan Community Board 11 would like to support the request for funding by Youth Construct, a Harlem-based nonprofit organization that provides after-school vocational training for high school students in the in-demand fields of architecture, construction, engineering, and real estate development. Youth Construct offers a unique and much-needed service in this community, providing vocational training to high school students in 11th and 12th grades through an after-school program, followed by paid summer internship with established companies in New York City. The training prepares young people in underserved neighborhoods for careers in the ASET sector that stands for Architecture, Construction, Engineering, and Development, so that they can graduate from high school and they are employable and better prepared for college or trade school if they intend to further their education. With multiple large-scale projects planned in the upcoming years in our district, such as Second Avenue Subway, our district urgently needs to prepare students to take advantage of these local jobs. In addition, young people in New York City continue to suffer higher than average unemployment rate, and a disproportionate number of disconnected youth resides in our district. Programs such as Youth Construct offer much needed solution to address this entrenched issue at the root by motivating young people to stay on track to finish high school and providing valuable access to career opportunities with upward mobility. We believe that this youth organization is the type of program our community in New York City needs right now, and we support their request for funding with the hope that more students from Harlem can be hired into the program next year, each year. Please reach out to me with any questions you may have.
all right. Does anyone have any questions about the letter of support? Then I guess we could take a vote now, Khalid. Is that okay if we do that?
Well, what we would do first is, I'm sorry, Khalid, is
No,
that
David.
we would make a motion, or somebody would make a motion.
Well, yeah,
to approve the
that's
letter of
what I
support.
meant.
Yeah, and then Khalid would read the attendance on the vote. Okay, so.
All right. Motion to, does anyone have a motion to write a letter of support for Youth Construct? All right, John Green.
I'll make the motion.
So move.
Well, I saw John's hands first. John's hands first. You could second it, Claudia, if you want. So, John Green, can you?
So moved.
Okay. All right.
So we have a motion by
Making a
John
motion.
Green. Right, go ahead, read it, go ahead.
I'm sorry, John, we couldn't hear you. Are you making a motion to write a letter of support?
Yes,
Or-
I am.
And Claudia, do you second it?
Yes.
All right, Khalid, you could call the roll.
Will do. Will do. Rosa Diaz,
Yes.
Angela Donadell, Angela,
Yes.
thank you.
David Giordano,
Yes,
Thank you. John Green,
Yes,
thank you. Claudia Perez,
Yes.
thank you. Natasha Rodriguez,
Yes.
thank you. Isaac Scott,
Yes.
Russell Schuler,
Yes.
Jason Wu. Jason? Okay, well, we'll have to treat that as not available for now. But in terms of the rest of the members, Natasha, it's in favor of passing the motion.
All right, so thank you, Eva, very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Please continue to send students to the program and encourage real estate professionals to continue to support the program.
thank you, thank you.
All right,
Dr. Christie, could I ask a quick question? Is there any possibility maybe we can, do a little informational with Esperanza as they're one of our own high schools in the district, or kind of connect this?
The best way is to email and I'll connect you to Louisa, the principal.
Okay, great,
Mhm.
great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
all right. So we're gonna continue on with our agenda, because like I said earlier, we have a lot to cover today. All right, so presentations and discussions. All right, so we have 3 resolutions from CEC4. Rosa explained them earlier. They were also sent out via email. So,
Okay, wait a minute, let me just correct. We have the resolutions Rosa spoke about today have not been given to the committee. She introduced them from the November meeting. We're
I'm
voting
sorry,
on ones from the,
bad.
I'm sorry, we're
Yeah.
voting on ones from the October meeting. There's 6 of them related to air conditioning, related to COVID testing, related to, okay, now I'm forgetting, co-location of charter schools. yada,
holiday
yada,
break.
yada. Yeah.
Yeah. Did everyone
So-
receive those? Everyone should have. Because I think we could go through this pretty quickly if everyone was able to read them. And we have Rosa here to clarify if anything.
Yeah, I mean, what we should do is state each one, and if everybody agrees to do a bulk vote, so we don't have to vote on all 6 individually, unless somebody has any objections or wants to vote differently on a specific one. But we should go through each of them, so we should read the titles, and if there are any questions, and just give a quick summary. I mean, I'm still in the car, but I can talk.
Oh, no, it's all right. I got it. All right, I'm just pulling up the list. Resolution to implement COVID-19 protocols in schools following holiday breaks. Resolution calling for DOE to ensure all schools have adequate air conditioning. Resolution calling for a task force to be established on reducing class sizes. Khalid, could you go to the next slide, please? Resolution to amend New York State Education Law 2853, facilities, charter school co-locations in New York City Public School building. Resolution calling for permanent elimination of discriminatory admission methods for middle and high schools. Resolution calling on Mayor Adams to extend the emergency declaration, allowing CECs and other bodies to continue to meeting virtually. So would I just like call for a motion for everyone to be okay with grouping these all together?
Yes,
Alright.
but first we should ask her if there are any questions to any of the motions. Does anybody need any other clarification? I just want to reiterate, we do give them out a month early so people have time to read them and make notes and raise those things, because when you can spend a lot of time. Now, if it was a motion we were writing, I would want to go through it line by line as a group, because we're producing that motion, resolution. So I just want to reiterate the last one, really, in terms of the mayor's office extending the emergency, is something that we ourselves, I think as a community board, have advocated for until we can really work out how we provide these hybrid. I do want to commend CEC and the district for running the hybrid meetings where we both have them live at schools. We even have kids present from those schools and other schools. So I really want to highlight that. Before we get into talking, we hear from the voices of our youth, and I think it's been very powerful at the schools. So I want to thank both Rosa and Dr. Christie really for coming up and pushing that. I think Rosa introduced it and Dr. Christie pushed it on her end. And it's amazing what was produced by kids. Even what, and I have to say this, Dr. Christie, at our open space meeting last week, we had Bill from 108 present, and he actually used the video of kids presenting about why we need to fix up their playground and redo it. So again, I think the voices are so powerful when it comes from people who are most impacted. But again, if there's anything with these resolutions, again, I hope people read them. We will send out the ones that Rosa introduced tonight to be able to vote on next month. Again, if there's anything that's time sensitive, we would vote on it tonight. But again, I want people to read things, wrestle with it, make sure we get with John and input from the housing. Sorry to talk so much, but go ahead.
Rosa has her hand raised, so Rosa.
Thank you so much. All these resolutions are based on the needs of our community, on our
Rosa, your Wi-Fi is cutting out.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, my apologies, I moved. So all these resolutions are based on the needs of our families, students, educators, and if anything, I am here to clarify anything that anyone doesn't understand from these resolutions, and Dr. Christie is also here. But in District 4, we strive to find out what's going on in the household overall, not just when the child enters our school building. We find out what's going on. Do you need help? How can we support you? And we make it happen. And I'm here just in case. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Rosa. Appreciate everything the CEC does for the schools. So does anyone have any questions about these resolutions? Like David said, these were sent out a month in advance. I am not seeing any other questions or any questions at all. So is anyone against us grouping all of these together and just voting them at once because these were sent out in advance? All right. All right. So would someone like to make a motion for us just to vote on all 6 of these now? Are we accepting the resolutions? We're supporting them? I don't know the language we're using for this. So.
I'm trying. I'm trying to get on the computer. So we're in support of the resolutions.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. All right.
CB11 is in support all and signs us. So I make a oh no, I see Isaac Scott's hands up. So go ahead, Natasha.
All right.
And
Pastor Scott.
I was gonna just make a motion to support all of the motions on the floor.
All right. John Green.
Second.
All right. Khalid, may you please call the roll?
You got to give me 1 second. Okay, calling you all by your last name. Rosa Diaz,
Yes.
Angela Donadell,
Yes.
David Giordano,
Yes.
John Green.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Claudia Perez,
Yes.
Natasha Rodriguez,
Yes.
Isaac Scott,
Yes.
Russell Schuler,
Yes.
Jason Wu.
Yes.
Excellent. And you have, that is a consensus.
All right. So our next presentation, I'm sorry, I'm like switching in between screens. Our next presentation is from Hazina. I'm so sorry if I butcher your name. Hazina Aladdin, The Rise in Sextortion Crime, a documentary. So you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. So my apologies for having my camera turned off. I'm feeling a bit under the weather today. So by way of introduction again, I'm Hasina Aladdin, and I work on community engagement and outreach for Homeland Security Investigations New York. We are very pleased to be a part of today's meeting. So thank you again to Mr. Nixon and his team. Without further ado, I'll turn it over to my colleagues who will lead today's extortion awareness talk. Thank you. Josh?
Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Croft. I'm a special agent with Homeland Security Investigations. For those of you that aren't familiar with our agency, we are the investigative arm of the Department of Homeland Security. You'll probably be familiar with the FBI. They're the other premier federal law enforcement organization, but we basically investigate the same crimes. We just fall under a different agency. And I'm specifically in a group, the Child Exploitation Investigation Unit, and we investigate crimes against children that happen on the internet and in real life. And those crimes could be anything with a nexus to interstate or international activity. That's what makes it a federal case. So tonight we just wanted to talk to you guys, since you have close contact in the community with children and with the schools, and let you know about the rise in sextortion crimes. Just to introduce the topic, I'm going to play you a little promo for a documentary that our agency and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children created to help bring awareness to this. So Natasha, I don't know if I can share a screen, can I?
Okay, yes, you can.
All right, thank you.
You are not sharing your sound, so we cannot hear anything.
Oh, let's see.
Yeah. So you gotta, basically there's like a little box you check when you go to share your screen. So you gotta stop sharing the screen. There's a box.
I see it. Thank you so much.
Do you remember that time period?
Yes.
Can you start to tell the jury what happened?
I had, a friend request from this Steve Crofton guy.
Prior to that date, had you ever had contact with a Steve Crofton?
No.
For the first time in history, we're letting strangers interact with our kids in the back of our car, in their bedrooms, in their homes.
That online environment has just created this access to children that was never there before.
Physiologically, they don't understand who is out there and what people are capable of.
It's been called a new form of sexual assault, online sextortion.
For HSI, the increase that we've seen is definitely sextortion.
Sextortion is probably the fastest growing crime in the world.
That's right, sextortion attempts are skyrocketing.
You know, we see cases come in for children as young as 8 years old, 9 years old. We're talking elementary school children.
As a predator, you can actually create an online profile that matches the preferences of that child.
He got information from our chats through my computer, information about my mom, about my sister. He had Google images of my home.
From 16 years ago to today, there is no mold. Anybody from any walk of life could be involved in this. I mean, we've had doctors and police and clergy.
Simply the fact of who the offender was very shocking in this case.
We intercepted a letter that he wrote to the Chinese embassy in Washington. If they would break him out, he would give them all the information on the F-18 When you talk to me, please don't lie to me. You're a grown man, you're an officer in the Navy.
These grown men are going after these young girls and they try to kill them. Might not be in their intention, but they're killing them. And we have to stop it.
I would literally do anything to save one. There's so many kids out there that need saving that there's just not enough of us to do it.
Okay. So that just to introduce it, and for those of you that aren't more familiar with it, I'll describe sextortion is basically a scam that we're seeing more and more online, where adults will communicate with the child on various platforms and induce them through various means to create nude imagery, sexually abusive imagery of themselves that is then later spread on the internet. Really, we see this with any chat app, any app that has a chat function. I can probably point to a case where a child's been exploited using it. So you're talking as young as 6-year-olds, maybe on Roblox, meeting a stranger who starts talking to them and asking them for pictures, all the way up to maybe you're a teenager on Snapchat sharing imagery that way. And the basic way the scheme will work is these offenders will pretend to be somebody. Often it's somebody the same age and gender of the child they're targeting. And then they'll go chat to build confidence, build trust with that target. And then at some point in the interaction, they convince them to create some kind of embarrassing imagery or nude imagery. And that's when that offender will then turn it around and start threatening and being more coercive to generate even more of that child sexual abuse imagery. Just to give you an example of a case I did where the guy used basically every technique. The defendant in Brooklyn posed as a teenage girl and infiltrated a group of friends in California by using similar accounts to what they were using. He chatted with them all until he found the child that was the most sympathetic and empathetic. And what he did was pretended to be a girl who was embarrassed about her own body and wanted to share images with these girls to see, was I normal? And when she did finally convince this empathetic kid by telling her she was going to harm herself if she didn't send a photo of herself, the empathetic, sympathetic kid, she ended up sending a photo of herself to an adult male who then turned around and used that image to coerce the rest of her friends to create even more imagery. So just to show you the extent that somebody will go through making fake accounts, chatting night and day with children, all to make them produce imagery for them. You heard in that little promo that it's one of the fastest growing crimes out there, and that is very true. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which we're going to talk about in a minute here, they took in about 19,000 reports of just strictly sextortion in 2019. Last year, the last full year for reporting, they were up to 45,000 reported sextortion crimes. And I saw a presentation in September this year from that organization that says we're on pace to have about 60,000 in 2022. So just to say that, within a 3-year span, the amount of this crime is occurring has tripled. When you look at how many chat apps, social media apps there are out there, it probably shouldn't surprise you that it's that prevalent. And I don't want you guys to have the impression either that this is just something that targets teen girls, which a lot of people do. One of the more prevalent scams nowadays is coming out of West Africa. You guys might be familiar with those old Nigerian prince scams. Well, they've come out with a new scheme that targets specifically about 12 to 17-year-old boys, where they pose as a cute young friend and get them to share imagery by saying that they're going to share images with that boy, at which point they demand money to make the images go away. And if they don't, they'll threaten to spread them. So just know that this targets any child, any age group, any gender. Moving on from that, just something we learned from the kids that are victims of these crimes themselves is that one of the reasons they fall into this trap is the idea of their sexual exploration. You know, back when we were growing up, you would have, you know, basically you had to be in public. You would go to the mall or the park to meet friends. But here it's happening online on a phone in their bedroom in private. So you don't have any of that even you know, secondary adult supervision that they would have otherwise. It's very easy to target these kids that way without people intervening. And a lot of kids nowadays have an attitude of, you know, this is how you explore your sexuality, where in our time, you might have had the biggest threat being teen pregnancy or sexually transmitted illnesses. Now, you know, they're being targeted with having their imagery out there for the rest of their lives as a consequence of their exploration. Another way the kids get into trouble is their overconfidence in their ability to use social media. Just speaking with experience with my own niece, she talks about how her and her friends are really great at vetting other people's profiles and seeing, oh, this profile has a lot of history, a lot of friends, so it's probably trustworthy. But as you saw in the little promo video, these criminals are very adept at spoofing that. You know, they also fall into the trap there where a lot of kids are chasing metrics from these apps for likes and shares and things like that. And that, you know, the app itself is encouraging them to do dangerous behavior and accept friends just so they can run up the scores on their social media, as it were. And then another thing a lot of these victims report when they are rescued and interviewed is that they feel like, you know, they're clever enough to not show their face in the imagery, which would keep them private. But in virtually every instance we see, once you create that one image, whether it might not even be nude, just an embarrassing image, that's the point at which the bad guy is going to come around and use it to coerce you to do even worse things. And then just as a warning you can pass on to kids is that these guys, a lot of times it's a full-time job. When we look at the evidence after it's been reported, we do the search and arrest. You'll look at their chats and they're spending, you know, 20 hours a day chatting with children. And they will wear a child down by just constantly bombarding them. And you think about all the activities and the school and distractions a kid would have, you know, versus the bad guy that's targeting them. They're gonna get beat eventually. So now we'll talk about the best ways to defend against it. Number one is just impress upon kids that they should only be communicating and friending people they know in real life, because it just takes one person they've friended that they think is innocuous that's going to start chatting and use that to build their trust and then later violate it. As a parent, you should always encourage you know, honest discussions about these things with your kids, and then you should also, you know, find a way to limit and monitor use. Like maybe don't let a child chat alone in their bedroom. Have them do it in a living room or a public area of the house, where you do kind of simulate that supervision of being in public. Child's likely not going to create that imagery if they know they're going to be seen where they're chatting. And then I'm going to put up some resources in the chat here that you guys can go to and look for. iGuardians is a program our agency does that has age-appropriate presentations for grade school, middle school, high school that teaches kids how to safely use the internet. We just started this website, ice.gov topics/sextortion. This was live yesterday, and this talks specifically about sextortion crime and gives resources to parents and educators on how how to defeat it, how to protect against it. And then missingkids.org is the website for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And they have an education section there with tons of resources for you guys in the community. And I feel like I should point out here, full disclosure, we do organizationally fall under Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And I know that kind of disturbs people sometimes. They think we're coming after immigrants, but I want to tell you that HSI, as our investigative arm, we absolutely will not target anybody in the community for immigration offenses. If you're a victim of a crime, in fact, we have resources and visas that we can get to keep you here and get you the treatment and resources they need. So don't feel like if this happens to some of your migrant members, new members of the community, they can absolutely feel safe coming to us, and we will do everything in our power to protect them and keep them here. And then finally, what to do if you do know a child has been a victim of sextortion is to number one, stop the chatting immediately. Don't pay anybody. Don't continue communicating at all. And you're going to go to the top URL I put into that chat, report.cybertip.org. That is the cyber tip line center run by NCMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, where they are a national clearinghouse for taking in those reports. And our agency and the FBI, we actually have agents that work with them 24/7 to make sure that those reports get to the offices they need to. Immediately report it. Another thing to remember is to preserve any evidence you have in those chats. I know the immediate instinct is to delete everything because it's embarrassing imagery. It's going to be images of your child nude likely, and you don't want that to get out there, but sadly it already is. But by preserving that evidence, you give us the best chance of finding that bad guy. And then finally, part of the process for us, once we get that report, we'll reach out to the child and the family, and we do a very victim-centered approach to our investigations, so it's very non-threatening, and we do everything to keep the child's best interest and safety. That's our primary concern. So on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Juanita Harris, who is a member of our victim assistance program, and she can speak more about the resources and programs we have to help with that.
Thank you, Josh. Can everyone hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. So good evening. I'm Juanita Harris, and so I'm one of the victim assistance specialists that assist individuals that have either been victimized by trafficking, be it labor or commercial sex, or in this case that we're talking about child exploitation. So our agency obviously does not provide direct services to children, but we will assist the parents or the guardians get services to help this child in receiving services to assist them with this child exploitation case. One of the things that we can assist with is, of course, getting them counseling resources. If they need medical care, those are stuff that we can help them with. If they are needing mentors, it's another resource that we can get for the children to get them back on the right track. One of the things that I do want to talk about is that because we are reactionary, right? We come in after something has already happened. That's what our agency does. So we're doing this tonight in an effort to for awareness and prevention, right? If we can get the community educated enough and talking to their children, talking to the children in the community, then hopefully this will happen less. And one of the main things that I want to let you know is that when you or anyone you know encounter children that have been victimized by sextortion, the worst thing they can do is judgment, right? Like one of the things that you shouldn't do or when you're educating parents is not to judge, because I have seen some of that happen and it's really counterproductive to the child. So we want to be sure that we're supportive if a parent doesn't have the means or the know-how, then we're going to leave our information. You can contact us. I am more than willing to assist the parent in talking to a child in a way that is non-judgmental, so that we can get that child back on a path where they're not looking at either self-harm, which happens. We've had children who have committed suicide behind this because it's untenable. They just can't handle it. When someone is putting their images out there or threatening them because they won't pay them, they don't know how to deal with that. And so it is not the time for parents to then point the finger at the child and say, you did this. Wrong time to do that. So if the parent is having an issue, again, with not being able to support that child in a productive way, I am more than willing to assist that parent to help that child in that manner. So I think that's all we have for tonight. And if you have any questions, we'll leave our contact information and you can reach out to us. Thank you for having us.
All right. Does anyone have any questions for Claudia Perez?
Do you guys do presentations for awareness in the community? Or is that something you're working on?
Yeah, we actually do. I mentioned that our iGuardian program. We have a computer forensic agent in our office, Kevin Tillman, who often does these. If you just send a request to us through Hazina, we can try to arrange one. And he'll do different age groups, different types of content. So whatever you guys want to target specifically, let us know and we can make it happen.
Thank you.
Pastor Scott?
Yeah, my question was very similar to that. I was wondering if you would be willing to come to the Human Services Committee and do the same presentation. I think a lot of this information is very relevant. Also, I was just wondering about it in community spaces like churches and schools. So yeah, if you could just put your information in the chat, I would definitely do that.
Yeah, 100%. Just send us an email to either Hazina or myself and we'll set that up.
Angela Donadille.
Thank you for the presentation. It was interesting, and I just recently had seen something on TV where I think the young man, they showed several children that committed suicide behind this happening. So what I really wanted to ask, Isaac Scott said you would put these websites, the iGuardian website, but it's not in the chat yet.
Oh, let me, I sent it as a direct message to Dr. De La Cruz. Let me give it to everybody. My apologies.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And happy holidays.
David?
So as a father of 5 daughters, I'm always very concerned to how young people are approached, and the cyber is taking on a whole new level of life in our society. I work with children run after school programs and prevention programs. In fact, at one of our local schools, and more, I'm thinking, as you said, and probably in the resources, things we can help parents. But another level of this, and you touched on it a little, is how kids don't understand how they sometimes put their own stuff out there or share it with their friends. And then it's also put out there for the public, not necessarily in terms of the same context of somebody trying to really extort a child or do that, but it's very harmful. And the cyberbullying is really taking on another level. And, I'm just wondering how we can, or what programs are available that we can, like I have advisory that I do with the middle school class. These are things we should be getting in there and talking to them about. Not that we don't, but I think, sometimes you really need that other professional to come in to really help scare straight, in that essence. And I'm not one on developing fear with kids, but helping them sometimes see the reality of actions that we do now. And this is just a whole nother level. Once that text is out, or somebody says, let me hold your phone for a second. And what they do in that 2 seconds, 3 seconds can destroy a young person's life, as we're talking about. And I'm big on mental health services for kids in the non-traditional, without always stigmatizing or giving them diagnoses. but helping them through these points of crisis that like I think it was Claudia, they don't know how to deal with it, right? Somebody said they just don't, or no, the presenter, they just don't know how to deal with it when these things occur. So, I'd like to get parents part of this because they're different levels that need to be educated in different things. Ms. Harris, I'm sorry. I'm just getting back in the screen here.
Yeah.
But so that's me on top. I got two things going on. It was easy to stay on the phone and not lose it. But I really thank you for the presentation tonight. And, as Pastor Scotto mentioned, who chairs the Human Service, public safety. I mean, I think maybe this is something we should really speak about, a full presentation at a full board, because it hits on so many different levels of people and understanding and who's in this space versus who's not in these spaces. I even maybe CEC coming and doing it where we have parents and kids, and some, or what are the resources that we could tap into. So thank you for your presentation.
Yeah, I just want to say quickly, and then I will acknowledge Xavier and Dr. De La Cruz. Yeah, I agree with David because I'm 18. I'm not that much older than some of the kids who we're talking about right now. But I've noticed even like they've got like some of these predators have gotten like really smart, and kids, I think social media is just something that's a part of our lives now, and kids are going to have access to it, whether they're supposed to or not, because technically for most social media apps, they're not supposed to be on it till they're 13. I think it's more about education. Like David said, I hate to say it, sometimes you got to scare straight a little bit because they don't realize that it's a game until it's not. Because right now you could look up people's name on the internet and there will be something about you. It will ruin your whole life. Xavier.
Good evening, and thank you for being in the space and presenting. I can't tell you how important it is to have this information. I was very glad to hear the recommendation. If you could check your calendar, and I'll check with our district manager to make sure, see what our itinerary and what the lay of the land is for the 20th, which is Tuesday. I think it would be well worth having you come and present at full board, as well as the other committees, because again, you're going to get different swaths of the community who attend those committees. I think it's very important. I appreciate you recognizing that it's all youth are affected by this activity. And I'm being the father of a 6 and 9 year old. I've had to have multiple conversations as they're playing Roblox and other gaming, Minecraft, and they get random text messages. And I've said, unless it's a friend from school, and having to have that heavy hand of knowing all the handles of your kids' classmates, even if it's a grade or two above, and finding out who they are. I think that's, again, and it's a brave new world. And so I appreciate that recognition of how challenging it is. And I think the biggest thing is, from this point of view, beyond just thank you, is how we can continue to work together to prevent these crimes. And the one question I'll have is, with those instances where it is happening from abroad, what is your recourse on that? Have we had any success in actually taking down those syndicates who are exploiting our youth from abroad?
We do actually. Our agency has 74 offices overseas. That covers, I believe it's 168 foreign countries where they work directly with law enforcement in those countries. And very specific to child exploitation crimes, I have not met a single nation that does not cooperate with a request for these kind of crimes. You should feel somewhat relieved that if we can locate a bad guy and that country has a law to prosecute it, they will absolutely, we will help them make it happen.
Okay, thank you. Please check your calendar and circle back to Khalid as well, next in our ADM, see if maybe the 20th, just to attend and present. Okay.
Yeah, I'll take a look, of course.
Dr. De La Cruz.
Yes, thank you. And thank you so much, Joshua and Juanita. I really appreciated, especially the comments about not attaching a stigma or judgment So I just want to acknowledge that. And I also just wanted to let everyone know and to lift this, that the New York City Public Schools has a lot of resources around both of these topics, from social media to exploitation and also human trafficking. In fact, they've repurposed a division, and at the District 4 level, we're actually starting to engage in more in-depth awareness workshops to help educators look for the signs and so forth. So I just wanted to say thank you. Yes and yes, because I think it is a just having a session once doesn't mean that people hear, right? Or just because I talk to a child once, it needs to be multiple touch points, students, educators, parents, and like how we can be a unified group of, really trying to best support all individuals. And from my experience, it's our youth, it's adults. There's a lot of a lack of information around just technology and all the whole world it opens up, right, for both good and negative. And so I just wanted to say thank you. And I do think that this is just, as I think Natasha said, this is in our world to stay. And it has like so many implications, and just educators, we see it firsthand more frequently than what I would like to acknowledge, yeah. So, and so many different levels, because like you said, you shared, it's in so many different levels, and it can start off with just the gaming, or, children are young alone. It starts out, and how our young people are just taken advantage of. And then, yeah, so thank you so much. But I do want everyone to know that the New York City Public Schools do have curriculum around social media, digital literacy. There's a lot of support, but that doesn't mean it's being done. It doesn't mean it's being done with fidelity. And I do just want to reiterate that I believe it's like you can never talk about it too much. And as a parent as well, I think Xavier mentioned it's happened in front of my own eyes, where they're on Roblox, or, a little child, and someone puts a comment in the chat, and then I'm like, I'm her mother, right? Like, and then they leave, right? And so it's, we all need to be protecting our children and youth as much as possible. So thank you.
Pastor Scott, is that an old hand or?
I'm sorry, that is an old hand. I'm gonna put it there.
Yeah, I also just want to make a quick comment before we wrap this up. And this is something that wasn't mentioned, and it's not necessarily people don't think about this. A lot of LGBTQ students go online trying to find a sense of community, and people don't realize that they are targeted because they go online trying to find a sense of community, because they either are having problems in school or they're having problems at home. So that's just something also to be mindful of, because people don't talk about that enough. I've seen it happen. And it's like non-LGBT people targeting these kids because they want to feel accepted, and they pretend to be a minor. So yeah, that's something for you guys to think about also. So, all right. Does anyone have any further questions, or are we good? All right. So thank you so much for your presentation. We appreciate it, and we will maybe use some of that curriculum in our schools. So could we move on to the is the slide? Where's the slide? Yeah, okay. David, I might need your help with the next one. All right, so now we have some old business. The Youth Task Force Initiative Planning Review of Debrief with Executive Committee. David, can you help me, please?
Yes, so as you all know, one of our goals has been to develop youth and to provide a platform through Community Board as an advisement and task force. We are in the process of developing that task force. Again, unfortunately, because of a situation where at work, we've have a little understaffed, and my assistant director who recently got promoted within Children's Aid had left. So my responsibility until I replace that person has changed. I do want to acknowledge that I have found somebody and are promoting from within our Karen Leva, who's been with our program now for 6 years and has been a Children's Aid youth. So I always like to give opportunities to promote within and develop the youth and then give them platforms such as Natasha is chairing this meeting tonight to lead and to lead community, because as I'm turning 60, I'm getting old. So I it's got to start passing the torch. So again, I want to commend Natasha for her work tonight and running the meeting. So I've asked two things. One, that we kind of begin this work again and pick it back up in January. By that time, I'll have Karen on the license and we'll be able to leave work early or be live at the meeting earlier. And also to work with Natasha to do a presentation to the executive committee on the goal of the work and where we're going forward with this work around developing youth. And I think it was so nice to have James Garcia earlier to come on very quickly. And James was on the Youth and Education Committee when he was on. I also worked with him on MetCab, really great. Now he's working with the mayor's office around developing youth in this particular leadership role. And you know, while they're developing that, I want to simultaneously develop this. So we will pick this back up in January. There have been a lot of good movements. Again, I've asked Natasha to lead the task force and the youth committee as the board member, and I will step back and play more of that supportive role and mentor role, and also allow Natasha to chair some of these meetings to prepare for that endeavor when Natasha will be leading those meetings. So that's where we are with the youth task force. Again, I want to commend everybody. If you do remember, we did put out a draft, and that's kind of where I want to go back to and review of what would be the actual tasks and responsibilities and mission for this task force, and allow the youth to develop the vision, how we implement the mission. Got it? Okay. So that's where we are. We will resume that again in January, and Natasha will be in the lead with that role. Any questions? I'm going to turn it back over to Natasha, because doing a great job tonight, and it's nice to be in the background sometimes as well.
So do I continue?
Yes, you do.
All right, next slide, please. We already voted on the new business, so I'm pretty sure we don't have any other new business. So, all right. I don't remember how to do the last part, David.
Well, we do a roll call at the end, but just to give quick, any other announcements that anybody needs to make that may have not been? Dr. Christie talked about wonderful things. They got me DJing on the 19th. So I got to set up early, get back to programming and sneak over, but we'll make it happen. Wonderful events. And I think it's so important to welcome our new immigrant families that have joined our community and our space. Dr. Christie, it's wonderful working with you, and anything I can also do to help support, let me know. Thank you. And then I guess we do adjournment unless nobody else has. But again, it's really great working with everybody on the committee, and Happy New Year. We'll see everybody on the 20th. That's the full board, the 20th. Yes, the 20th.
Yes, it's the 20th.
So
All right.
Yeah.
So if there's no other announcements or no other little comments, I guess Khalid, you could call the roll.
Okay, give me 1 second.
I'm so proud of you,
Natasha.
I'm not leaving my room for 3 days after this.
Rosa Diaz. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay. Rosa Diaz.
Can you hear me?
I couldn't hear you, Rosa, if you said anything.
I did.
Okay, now I can hear you, Rosa. My internet, I don't know what I paid $150 for, but it's being a little bit weird.
I don't know. I paid the college.
Angela Donadell.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. David Giordano.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you all.
Thanks. John Green.
Out.
Got it. Claudia Perez.
Here, good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night. Natasha Rodriguez.
I'm here.
Thank you. Isaac Scott.
Here.
Thank you. Russell Schuler.
Present.
Thank you. Jason Wu.
Present.
Excellent. That's all, co-chair.
All right, so the meeting is adjourned at 8:06 p.m. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, all.
Great job today. Good night, everybody.
Good evening, everyone.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Khalid, much for all your help.
Of course, David. No problem. No problem. We'll talk later.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.